Hey everybody, welcome back to the September GYLS Momentum Session. This month it's a beautiful day outside, so I figured I'd be outside. Super nice out in Canada. It's still not quite September yet. And today we have the privilege of having Team Love Wins. Oh, it's my favorite team, other than me. And we've got Nate and Chantal. Chantal's all the way in Hawaii right now. So I think it's 10 a.m. for you, right?
Yes.
And then we've got Nate in Colorado, I think 2 hours behind.
2 o'clock.
As you know, we were supposed to have George. Some stuff came up, and we'll talk about that. But for now, I'm going to send it to Chantal.
Okay, before we start, I just wanted to say how grateful we are to have an environment where we are able to continue the momentum that we gained at GYLS, and just send a special shout out to Sergio for hosting these momentum sessions every month, and thank you guys for attending our momentum session. So to begin, Team Love Wins, we want to speak on the love languages. So what are they? The love languages are similar to the languages of the world. They are a way that we communicate with each other, and like the 6 human needs, they are a tool that the better we understand them and how they work, the better we are to serve others and the ones that we love. So the 5 love languages, they're quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. And so to kind of recap what the 5 love languages are, they're a way that we deliver the love that we have for each other, and likewise they are the way that we like to receive love. So for example, my top 2 love languages are quality time and physical touch. So when I like to deliver my love to other people, I like to give them quality time and communicate with them. And I also like to, give them hugs and high fives like we do at GYLS. So when I'm with my friends and we're hanging out, I really like to give them high fives. But one thing that we kind of need to understand when it comes to love languages is that the way that we deliver them, or the way that others deliver love languages to us, are often the same way that they like to receive their love languages. And oftentimes this is also where we see relationships, in whether it's friendships or romantic love or even family love, it's where we clash. Because for example, if my top love language is quality time, but my dad's top language is words of affirmation, he may not like the way that I want to hang out with him all the time, and he just wants to text me on the side whenever he wants. And so it's kind of like if I was speaking French to him, but he doesn't understand French, and he speaks Japanese. He doesn't understand that our love languages are like not meddling together. And so this goes on about how we understand our peers' love languages and how we can deliver to them. And let's send it over to Nate about how we can apply these love languages to our GYLS family and keep that momentum going.
Absolutely, thank you. So Love Wins is about coming to know love. And let's just be really clear about something right out of the gate. Love isn't like something we learn in school. You don't go to hours and hours of class about love. So it's something that well, I'll just ask you, where do you pick it up? And you have to think about that for yourself. This is a bit of a rhetorical question, but I want you guys to think about this. The Q&A session's coming in a minute. Where did you learn about love? This is a really important question, because often it's from the people we grew up with, right? The parents, the family, the kids. If you have a faith-based connection, if you're in some kind of organizations, you may or may not have been exposed to love, the expression of love, what it means to have love and feel love and give love and receive love. So as we go through this and we continue to talk about these love languages, where did you learn about love? And start to pick out the people in your life that were your role models. And now I'm going to really throw out something that is a little bit dicey and really important to think about is, were your role models healthy or unhealthy in love, right? And we want you to start to think about that, not as a way to stir up something that is painful, but more of a way to say everyone in our lives is a lesson or warning sometimes both. And love is essential to who we are. So if you're thinking about love and starting to embrace this idea of love, in GYLS, we give love in an unbelievable and beautiful way. If you think about when you come to that event, you're immersed in quality time with these people, and it feels so good. And there are acts of service every day, right, where you guys are doing things for each other, whether it's in an Olympic game, or you're at lunch saving a seat for somebody, or you're coming through when someone needs a listening ear or a helping hand. That's every day at Global Youth, right? And then you might do some gift giving at Global Youth. It could be a note, right? A sticky note that you just tell someone something special, and it's a special gift for them, or maybe it's something you drew for them, or maybe it's a wristband that you gave them or something. And then this idea of physical touch is, in GYLS, we're high-fiving and hugging all the time. And sometimes people think when they hear physical touch, oh, that must be about a romantic connection. While all of us feel feelings of romantic connection, today the conversation is not about romantic connection. It's actually about experiencing love far beyond that one type, which is romantic connection. So physical touch can be a lot of different things. As weird as it sounds, knuckles, right, when somebody just fist bumps you, is a way to physical touch, right? And what's interesting, and I'm not sure how much you all know about this, but I think it's worth saying, is that human beings, when they are taken away from other human beings, when they are isolated, it really, really messes them up. And particularly babies, you can look online and look up research about kids who have grown up in orphanages that don't have physical touch, that don't have human connection, someone to come in and hold them and be connected with them and nurture them. They develop a disconnection that's very hard to recover. So I just want to put that out there, that just because there's physical touch does not mean romantic love. It does not necessarily mean kissing or anything like that at all. It could just mean, I want to be next to you because you're my friend and I care about you. I want to high five you because we just did something awesome. I want to hug from you because we just went through a powerful moment, and I'm so grateful that you're here with me. Now, that's physical touch too. And then words of affirmation. Think about in GYLS, it's like a blanket of immersion of words of affirmation all day. People are saying, I'm so glad you're here. It's so awesome to have met you. Let's sit by each other today, or let's do this on the team together, or let's do our chant really loud. And people are engaging in this words of affirmation about how much you appreciate. And sometimes you can have a lot of those things without actually saying the word love, but you can be in the expression of love. So Global Youth is very special because it's the place where we get to start to experience love in a really, really special and unique way, in an immersive way that's actually hard to recreate, as you all have experienced outside of Global Youth. So Chantal, did you have anything else you wanted to say on that front?
Yeah, just to clarify, the way that we deliver love is often, like I said, is the same way that we expect love from others. And I just wanted to point out that we do the best that we know how. So, for example, if our friend is unaware of what our love languages are, I think that the best way to communicate how we can better cherish each other and show each other our love is just to communicate and be like, hey, I don't appreciate you showing your love in a through physical touch as much as I would through words of affirmation. So I think that being able to understand your peers' love languages and being able to communicate with each other is the best way that we will be able to receive and deliver love that
Absolutely.
we like to.
Absolutely. So the real message inside the message there is there's this free tool that we sent out to you that can help you learn something very quickly that sometimes people will spend their whole lives not knowing about and not understanding, which can be very painful. So imagine that you are in a relationship and you're wishing that someone could understand you better for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or 30 years, and you're not connecting in that way around love. So isn't it amazing that we have access to a tool that's free that says, let me help you put together those pieces so that you can feel more connected and feel more loving and receive more love right now, instead of possibly missing that boat for a long time. And then to Chantal's point is, don't underestimate the importance of giving love in the way that that person wants to. So definitely in my life, whether it's with friends or family, my wife certainly, and my kids, is I know my wife is quality time. But here's the thing that's kind of a expert level detail on this, if you guys are ready for it. Just because you know what quality time is doesn't mean that you understand all the nuances of it. So with my wife, quality time doesn't mean just sitting next to one another on the couch. That's not good enough, right? It has to be, I want you to be present with me, and I want to be engaged, and I want to feel connected with you. So if I have my phone in my hand, then that's not present, right? Even though we're physically next to one another, we could be sitting in the same room. If I'm not present with her, that doesn't count as quality time. So to the point of this content, and what Chantal is trying to deliver here, is that even when you know the type in the way that the person likes to receive it, you would be really wise to ask them, give me some examples of how you like to receive it, whether it's quality time, acts of service, gift giving, physical touch, words of affirmation, because what they might say to you might be something that you've never thought of before. So it's like having the answers to the test. You get to walk in and ask them and say, how do you like it to receive this best based on your 5 love languages report? And they will give you the answers and say, do it like this, or do it like this. And now all of a sudden you're in this place that you couldn't have possibly got to unless you spent years and years with them and probably had a couple of battles about it, right? Some arguments.
That's awesome. I actually have a really quick question for you, because that was a really cool expert distinction on one of the 5 on quality time. Can you come up with some really quick examples for some expert distinctions on the other 4, specifics for maybe physical touch or acts of service, etc.?
Yeah, so here's an example of acts of service. With a friend, I have this buddy who I like to work out with. Acts of service for him might be to come and pick him up and go to the gym with him, right? It sounds like quality time, but it's actually me making an effort to schedule with him, pick him up, and take him to the gym. He appreciates that a lot more. In my family with my wife, taking out the trash is something that I do all the time because I know it needs to be done, and I like to take care of that for my family. But guess what? That really doesn't matter that much to my wife, right? So it's a distinction of, this is an act of service, but she kind of goes, yeah, that's whatever. I could do that too. What I would really like you to do for me is handle the finances. That would mean a lot to me, right? So she gives me that distinction. Here's another one on gift giving. Some people will say, I love to receive gifts, and it could be anything. They just like to receive it. But an expert detail of this is gifts that they actually like, or gifts that are very meaningful. So if someone's a huge Star Wars fan, and that's just a random thing, but some people are really into Star Wars, if you give them a unique gift that's of the Star Wars brand, that would mean a lot to them, a heck of a lot more than if you got them a gift card to Target, right? Still a gift, but not that big a deal. Another example is someone might say, I like to receive gifts, but I actually don't care about material gifts. Beautiful gifts to my heart are when you say something beautiful to me, or give me a beautiful quote, or introduce me to some beautiful resource that I didn't know, like maybe Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. That means a lot to me, which is a whole different thing. Physical touch is a perfect example. Some people like to do simple things, like just be in the presence of one another and connected. And I'm not talking about like, oh, we're sitting on a bus together traveling 300 miles. I'm talking about sitting across from one another and having your eyes connect with their eyes and saying, here are the 3 things that I appreciate about you so much today. And I just want to be in your presence here. We can just sit in nature, you and I, and just be friends. It doesn't have to be romantic or anything, but it's just about being connected, physically sitting next to one another and being in their presence. But sometimes it could be holding hands, it could be high-fiving, you could have your arms around someone, just walking with them, like around their shoulder. Anything that allows you to have that energetic connection. And actually, that's an expert distinction, if I can, for a second.
You can.
do you all know that we are energy beings, right? If that's not hokey, we are an energy field, and when we are in the presence of one another, we can feel and transfer that energy. And I'll prove it to you. How many times, or has there ever been a time when you were in the presence of someone and you were like, I don't know what's going on, but whatever energy they're putting off, it feels really icky to me. And you're like, and it doesn't mean that person's bad or something. They might be having a bad day, or maybe you don't understand the context of what they're going through or whatever. It's not about judgment, but I just get whacked out in here. I got to get out of here. And then other times you'll be in the presence of someone and you'll feel that energy and go, I don't even know that person and I have to get to know them. There's something amazing about them. There's something amazing about this dynamic. I want to be involved in it. You feel like it's pulling you in, right? So there's that energetic transfer as well. There's a physical transfer, certainly. And it, when done well, can be virtual. Words of affirmation. This one is
before you get into words of affirmation really quick, as soon as you went to talk about like the negative person, your Wi-Fi started tripping out. I feel like that was totally your energy that just like shot your Wi-Fi. It's been perfectly smooth the whole time. And for the 5 seconds you went to talk about like, you ever with someone with negative energy, your Wi-Fi just completely just got destroyed. And as soon as you finished, it came right back perfectly.
Should I close that?
That was really weird.
Should I close that loop?
Yeah.
So just negative energy is when you've been in the presence of someone and you can tell you don't want to be around them, right? I'm sure it's happened to you many times. I've actually walked into a restaurant before that I had never been in. And when I walked through the door, I went, I can't be here. I don't know why. I just felt energy, and I was like, I got to get out of here right now. And that might sound a little wonky, but I bet you if you look back in your life, you can remember times where you said, this person or this type of dynamic or this type of situation, the energy does not work for me, and I need to get away from this. Which is it's an intuitive response that you need to listen to. That's telling you something. Did all that hit?
Yeah, all that landed.
Right.
That was just so weird. The second you went to talk about that, Wi-Fi completely just gave up on that. That was funny. I totally cut you off.
Words of affirmation.
Distinction of the last one. Sorry.
Yeah. So words of affirmation, kind of expert distinction here is
loving these expert distinctions. By the way,
people might think, and this is sad, but it's the truth about the state that we're in. That it's okay to say things to people like, hey, good job, or and it's kind of like an empty comment. It almost feels like you're just checking the box, or they might say, hey, or how are you, but they don't actually mean it, or how are you doing today, and it feels like they could have said that to a wall and it wouldn't even have mattered. So there's something unique about words of affirmation is that you actually have to be present and looking at them and connected with them as much as possible, and then to say it from a place of specificity and authenticity, right? So you can't use words of affirmation as a throwaway. It just doesn't work. But if you look at someone and instead of saying, hey, good job on that, if I were to say, Sergio, I don't know if you know this, but you've created something that's essential to global youth leadership. And this platform that we get to use gives us a way to keep the momentum going that we've never had before. And I can't imagine how important this is to everyone, but I know how important it is to me. And I just want to say thank you for doing this for us, for doing this for the future of global youth leadership. Like when you come from a place like that, it's undeniable, right? So just when you're doing words of affirmation, have the courage, I guess that's the great way to say it, have the courage to look someone in the eye and say, I care about you. I appreciate you, who you are, what you stand for, what you mean, however you want to package it so that they feel it in their body, not just hear it with their ears.
That was incredible. And thank you for that. Like, it's so much better than good job on the momentum sessions. Like that, it's a universe apart of, and it's just a couple different words, but it's the intention behind it too. Like that's so much more powerful. Tons of people are like, props, good job on the momentum session, and like, sure, it's checking the box, right? But that was just probably the best compliment I've ever got in my whole life. from these momentum sessions.
Virtual. Thank you. So I guess to kind of bundle all that back up is when it comes to love, there's this underlying truth about love as source. Love is the most important thing about the human connection, right? And when we are in a place of love, things can be very, very abundant. Life is very abundant. Feeling is very abundant. Connection is very abundant. And in the absence of love, life starts to feel really messed up. And I mean this with every fiber of my body. Hurt people, right? So when someone had an absence of love and there was a break with that, right? And they can't find it, they can't get it back, they haven't known healthy love, then they start to have an abreaction, which is a fancy term of saying they have weird, confused ways of expressing love or trying to get to love that's a mutated, weird form of love. And so it's kind of sometimes easy to look at those people and make a judgment and say, oh, they're so messed up. My invitation to all of us is to study love and start to understand that people need this thing desperately on all levels, and when it's taken away, life gets really messed up. So you look at the state of the world today, and I'm going to pull it out really big now to like 10,000 feet, is our world is going through a lot of stuff right now. Domestically, we have a lot of racial tension, we have political tension, we have some very painful things going on in the media, and then you look internationally, and I'm sure you've all seen images of 3- and 4-year-old kids washed up on shore because they're fleeing for their lives, trying to get to a place that they can be safe. And of course ISIS and terrorism, and we don't need to go through the list to understand that people are hurting. And it's funny that we sometimes think that who's going to handle that, who's going to do something about that, it's too big for any of us, and I don't believe that. I believe that Global Youth Leadership is a platform where we learn to be leaders, that we go out into the world in our own communities, in our own school, in our own friendships, in our own body. We start to go, well, I'm going to start to emanate, I'm going to start to put out an energy of love and caring and connection, and it's going to start to create ripples, and that when millions of us do that, it creates a transformation, right? Is that my audio, or is that like a, are you guys hearing
It's
that?
mine. There's like
Okay.
a motorcycle running
Okay.
around.
I was
My
like, I don't know if you
neighborhood.
guys can even hear me anyway. But so I guess what I'm saying is, let's not believe that we can't make a difference. Let's not believe that we aren't creating ripples in this world, and that we are capable of shifting consciousness and driving transformation as a body of leaders coming from a place of love. And I'm not talking about anybody has to go over and take on ISIS. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying come from a place of love in this world, and it's amazing what can happen. All right, that's my 10,000-foot soapbox for just a minute. Chantal, do you have anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, just going back about your segment about how we're bodies of energy. I thought that it was really cool because right now you're just an energy of knowledge, like dropping nuggets everywhere. And I think my biggest takeaway from that was really delivering with intention. And when you're delivering love, it's about how, like you said, it's just checking the box. It's you get to decide whether you get to check the box or deliver with intention. And the way that you'll come off across people with your energies is how you deliver that, and like how sincere you are with your voice and your body language, and being able to really connect with others and building that rapport that we learned to do at GYLS. And that's really what I got across from that, is what is your intention when you show your love to others.
Absolutely, that was beautifully said. Okay, so this brings me to a concept that I feel like is deeply rooted and is kind of the foundation of everything we're talking about here, is self-love. So the most important love for this group of people right now, and you all are in an age where you're trying to find your way. In terms of development, psychological development, physical development, this is one of the biggest booms of development in your entire life. So you're trying to establish your identity, you're physically growing, you're mentally growing, you're expanding your horizons like crazy, whether that's in high school or you're about to head off to college, and you are starting to find yourself in situations in this world that are asking you, whether you realize it or not, who are you and what do you stand for, right? This is the nature of where you are right now. So I want to try to break that up for you a little bit in the context of love so that you can start to have awareness. And here's a really cool term, a science term. It's called your reticular activating system, or RAS. And once it knows about a concept, it will start to see it everywhere. A simple way to notice that is if you've ever liked a band and you started to listen to that band and talk about that band, all of a sudden you start to see that band everywhere. You're like, everybody's listening. This is the coolest band in the world. Everybody loves them. Or maybe it's a movie, or maybe you just got your first car and then you start seeing that car everywhere. It's because your brain is aware of it now and it's turned on to it. So I'm going to turn your brain on to a couple of things here that will help you start to explore love. And my request of you, my ask of you, my invitation of you is to write these down and start to explore them. So the first one is love. These are the 7 types of love. And it's self-love. This is the foundation of all the love that you will experience in the world, because the way that you love yourself, the way that you think about love, the way that you internalize love through the rest of the world, give and receive, if you are giving and receiving love, is defined by you, right? You get to choose how you are with love. So as you become a student of love, you would be really wise to start to study love and start to shine that light back at yourself of, how do I think of love? What is my self-love like? How am I giving myself love? How am I respecting and honoring myself? How do I show up in this world? What do I stand for in that space? And that will tell you a lot about your self-love. Now, these are deep topics. We could spend a lot of time in them. I'm actually going to go through the 7 because I want to introduce you to the depth of love. And so many people think, oh, it's about a romantic relationship. That's only one of the types. The second one is friendship love. This is different than self-love. Self-love is about how you love yourself. Friendship love is about how you give and receive love in the continuity of the relationship between your friends. With all of these types of love, you have to ask yourself, is that healthy or unhealthy? I mean, that's a powerful road right there. And with your friends, you might be experiencing a form of love with them. Is it healthy or unhealthy? Is it lifting you higher? Is it getting you closer to your dreams and goals? Or is it taking you into a dangerous place? That's friendship love, and you can start to evaluate that, right? And it's a huge principle in Tony's world and in the global youth leadership world of, who do you surround yourself with? Are these people lifting you higher or not? A third type is family love, different than friend love. Now this one's interesting because a lot of people have this stumbling block in their life of, this person's in my family, I have to love them, I have to do whatever I can for them. And what happens inevitably is we have someone in our family who can be toxic for us, or can be very, very painful for us. And it's sometimes hard to process, this person's in my family but they're hurting me, or they're hurting more people in my family, and I don't know what to do with that. So, and I'm not saying that's the only case. Clearly there's wonderful, beautiful family relationships that we cherish for our entire life. But I want to make this distinction because it was really powerful for me. Someone once said to me is, you can love someone from afar. You can respect and honor that they are in your family, and that the way that they're behaving and showing up in this world isn't empowering, isn't supportive, isn't loving back to you. And so it's possible to love someone from afar. It's also to learn from someone from afar, so you can watch that and learn what not to do. Certainly sometimes we can try to help and be a good force for love for them, but there are other times, and make no mistake, this will happen at some point in your life where you have to walk away. And that could be with friendship as well, where someone is deciding to go down a road in life where you cannot give and receive love from them anymore, and you have to cut it. That'll happen, and that's actually really good experience, so don't be afraid of that. That comes to this idea of reason, season, and lifetime, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. A reason is that we have a relationship and a connection and a love, whatever kind of love that is, friend, family, and others that I'll tell you in a minute. And we come together for that connection point, and that's a reason. And then there's a season, which means that you run together for a period. You're together, together, but then as life changes, you start to split off. And then lifetime is where you're together, right? And even if things have you go in different directions for a minute, it never changes. There's a deep love, appreciation, and respect. Reason, season, lifetime is kind of a cool way to think about that. The reason that I say it is because sometimes you will have a relationship that you love for years, and then it will go away. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make them a bad person. Life changes. Philosophies change. Values change. Dynamics change. Context change. Right? People move to geographically different places and meet people and go off in different directions. And sometimes you'll have strong relationships where you felt a lot of love, and 5, 10, 15 years later, there won't be a whole lot of love left there. So just know that that's part of the human condition. And you don't have to sort of make it wrong, and you certainly don't have to look in the mirror and go, what did I do wrong, right? And blame it on yourself. Here's a 1, 2, 3, fourth type of love, universal love. This is a kind of love where you might think, I am so grateful to be alive at this time, in this world, in a free country that gives me the space to be whoever I can be and dream big dreams and maximize my potential and make a difference in this world. Like, that's a beautiful kind of expression of gratitude and appreciation for nature and humanity and contrast and animals and the weather patterns. Some people are like, I feel so alive in the seasons when it changes to winter. Like Sergio gets on his snowboard and he's elated, right? Like energy's shooting out of his helmet because he's so pumped to get on the slopes. So there's this universal appreciation, a love for all things and the connectedness of us, the oneness of us, and it's good to think about that and express it. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting up in the morning. I'll be driving to work and I'll look up at the sky and I'll see the skyline and the beauty and the majesty of the skyline, and I feel the sun on my face and I just go, thank you. Thank you for all of this right now, you know, and just be in that heartfelt place of gratitude. Playful love. This is a really fun one. Like, so if you love to dance, if you love to be a comedian, if you love to socialize or host parties, if you love to play sports or a musical instrument or be in connection around Pokemon, whatever, I don't care. There's a playful love out there in the world where you can go, I feel alive and connected and I'm having so much fun when I'm doing this thing that's playful. So keep in mind that there is a playful love. And I just want to stop here because I've said a lot. Chantal, do you want to jump in and add anything to any of these?
I think that basically, long story short, is that, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of different ways that we experience love. And it all starts with, you know, gratitude for the things that we do. And like you said, it's just driving on the road on a nice day and really appreciating the small things like the life that's going on around you, the birds that are singing. And I think that really cultivating self-love begins with gratitude. And that's gratitude for yourself and gratitude for others. And not necessarily blaming yourself for things that happen to what you think may go wrong, but really appreciating and finding the learning, what you can learn out of those experiences that happen. And I think that George, who wasn't able to be here today, and Nate will go into that, he really was able to find the gratitude and the appreciation of things that don't happen to go in the way that one might prefer. So it's really, it starts with the gratitude for small things and appreciating what you have and what necessarily you may not have to make things beautiful.
Absolutely. Well said. And let's use this moment right now, and I'll come back to the others to bring George into the conversation. So George is a beautiful, beautiful soul who is on a transformational journey because something dramatically changed his life. Now, some of us will have that experience in life, and some of us might not, but I think I'll let him tell that story. And we're thinking about ideas. We might have an idea of how we want to bring that to bear. So trust that we will find a way. And I asked George to say, hey, man, send us your words that you would like us to share. George is actually giving love right now to his family. His mother had to go to the hospital. And so he just let us know, hey, this really matters. Family comes first. I'm going to go be there for my mom and be loving for my mom. And we were like, absolutely, that is a beautiful act of love. And by the way, which one of the 5 love languages is that?
Chantal?
Anyone?
Quality time, definitely.
You bet.
Well, I feel like it's all of it, because gift of your quality time and acts of service.
Words of affirmation are there. He's probably holding her hand, physical touch. Talk about a love landslide, right? That's beautiful. So George said, love is to give, not to take. Choose every day to live a happy life in a way that love will be your legacy. Choose every day to live a happy life in a way that love will be your legacy. Start every day with the intention by asking 2 powerful questions. How can I be even more happier today? How can I appreciate and be even more grateful to the gift of the life I was given today? Right? Or how can I give and receive even more love today? You can ask yourself these beautiful, empowering questions that George is giving to us, which is such a wonderful way to put yourself in a state, a beautiful state, a state of gratitude, and to ask yourself a quality question so that your mind starts to look for that. You turn it on right at the beginning of the day, and then you start to look for it and even give it in the world. So thank you, George, for being present with us, and look forward to him joining us on a momentum session soon. And then I actually have 2 more to go, but I want to give a quote here that Chantal made me think of, is that may you learn how to show yourself deep kindness and unconditional love. If your compassion does not include yourself, it is not complete. So Chantal was talking about self-love and how essential that is to everything else you do. Think of it like a stacking or a compounding effect, right? When your base of self-love is really strong and you're clear about who you are and what you stand for, what you'll allow into your life, and how you express love in this world to honor people in relationships, that foundation is strong, and you can stack all kinds of beautiful things on that and build a tall tower. Right? And when it's weak, and I've been there, trust me, and I'm sure you all have been too, where you find yourself off balance with love and you're not really sure who you are and what you stand for, and you're making some decisions that aren't good for you and possibly not even good for others. And everything starts to feel really shaky and wonky, right? So that's that getting back to this deep kindness and compassion for yourself, and that through self-love, all the other expressions of love can become really, really strong. And in the absence of self-love, everything just falls apart. 2 more to go, and then we can probably just open this up to Q&A. I am excited to tell you that it's possible, and I wish this for you, that you will find career love. That you will go out into the world, and wherever you decide to give your gifts, you will fall in love with that work. I think there are too many people who go out into the world and try to do things that they think, oh, I'll settle for this job, or oh, my mom and dad want me to do this kind of work, but I actually don't even care about it, but I'm going to do it because they want me to, right? And then there's these people who go, I'm going to do what I love. And I'm going to love every damn day, and it's going to feel amazing because I'm in the world doing what matters most to me. And I feel alive when I'm in that place. That's beautiful. So please don't settle for somebody else's good idea, or even worse, settle for money, right? Where you go, oh yeah, it's a good job because I can make a lot of money. Do you like it? No, I don't like it, but I get paid a lot of money. Wave off, right? And if you need to experience that yourself, fine. I've been there. I have walked away from those things to get back to what I love, and I've never felt more alive. And I will just say this, I've never made more money than doing what I love, because it just comes out in this beautiful way, and people will say to me, you are so lucky because you do what you love every day. And I say to them, and you can too. Right? And you can too. So So that's career love. The last one, and I purposely put it last, is romantic love. This is clearly very important. We're a connected species, and there's nothing that feels as beautiful as when you feel romantically connected to someone else in a healthy, respectful, authentic, and congruent way. I'm not talking about Hollywood hot pink bullshit love. I'm talking about a deep, respectful connection where you appreciate that person whether your eyes are open or closed, which is a completely different kind of love. And I wish that for all of you. I hope that every one of you find that heart and soul connection, not just, oh, so-and-so's hot and look good in those jeans, right? That's not what we're talking about here. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on romantic love. I think that's a topic in and of itself. But I just wanted you to know there are a lot of different types of love out there, and our hope for you is that you'll start to study love and find a way to build healthy love in your life. And I promise you this, when you become a beacon of healthy love, you will attract people all over the world. Like, people will just start to go, I don't know what it is about you, but you just have this way, and I feel like you're so authentic, and I feel like you're such a good person, and and it's because you're emanating, you're expressing this beautiful, healthy love. That's my wish for you, that you will study love, that you will practice love, that you will give and receive love in this world in a way that allows you to start to become a beacon of healthy love. And let's open for Q&A. That was a lot.
Before we even take any questions, Nate, you probably can't see it from a first-person perspective. Maybe you can, but you literally are the embodiment of that concept of being a beacon of love. Like, everything you just said is so, like, exactly how I would describe you. It's amazing. And on top of that, pretty much every time you open your mouth, I learned so much. It's incredible. You need to do your own, like, monthly, like, we need more than once a year from you. We need, like, I don't know, man, you just need to do something. We have a bunch of people viewing live, so if any of you guys have questions, you already know, in the Facebook GYLS grads group, pinned to the top, post your questions there. We've had a bunch of people posting throughout, but I didn't want to interrupt. We've got
and just say this one thing here. Just say, you guys ask the deep question. Don't be afraid here. Be courageous. I mean, of course you can throw a softball at us, but go ahead. Ask a tough one.
Throw the hard. Let's see. Guru Nate. No one's posting questions. They're all just like, Nate for president. Guru Nate. Great distinction.
True.
Let me see. Mehul Early posted awesome content. Keith Cunningham's story about asking Sandy his class. And then I tuned in. Christopher, I tuned in late. Can you repeat the 5 love languages? We talked about it throughout, Chris. So it'll be recorded on YouTube. You can go back and watch the whole thing, whatever parts you missed. Let's see if we
click the link. Click the link and do the assessment and get the full Monty. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I see it says a friend is typing a comment, so there's going to be a question coming in. Someone's literally, as they're watching, typing something right now. While they think, let's go back to Chantal. Chantal, what's been your... I have a question for you, and you can both answer, but we'll start with Chantal. What, if you want to share, what is your order of the 5 love languages, and when did you kind of discover the distinction of giving is different than the ones you want to receive? Like, if your top 2 are a certain one, when did you discover that you have to give the other ones?
Okay, so let me actually pull up the results that I got from this test. So my top love language is quality time, followed by words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, and receiving gifts. And so throughout the years that I've been attending GYLS and repeatedly been hearing about the love languages, I've kind of been cultivating what I've realized to be my top love languages. And of course that came with like experiences through relationships. And I think that through my current romantic relationship, I've really been able to identify my top love language. I think that GYLS has really uncovered the tools that I needed to have a healthy relationship with myself and with others, of course. And so taking this assessment has really been able to allow me to identify my top love languages. But I've been able to uncover them throughout the years that I've been attending the Global Youth Leadership Summit and just immersed in this amazing environment with others who attend.
Very cool. Suzanne posted a question. Dora.
Hi, Dora.
Let me go to her real quick. And I think this is for Nate, so let me send the camera to Nate. Why do you believe love wins out of anything else in life? Why does love win? And she just literally just posted another one, so maybe we can tag on. What should I do when I'm really not feeling love, and even though I hear what you say, I just feel every emotion except love? How should I respond? What should I do?
Two really good questions. So first, thank you, Dora. You're awesome. The love wins is this idea, this energy, this beautiful state where when you give love, and it's an expression, it's an act, it's a verb, that you are putting something into the world, and there's this natural response from the universe to start to echo that back. And here's the contrast of that. When you give nastiness and jealousy and anger and hate into the world, boy, do you ever get that back. So when love is the source and people feel supported and empowered and connected and respected, really beautiful, magical things start to happen, and relationships and open doors and feelings and connections just start to blossom in a way that it's not possible without being in that state. So even in the worst situations imaginable, people do acts of love. In Auschwitz, in the Nazi death camps, there were acts of love in the worst conditions imaginable. In the situations that are going on internationally where we have terrorism and these bombings, and people are literally dying on the ground, and you see these people expressing love by walking through the horror and helping and holding someone, right? And there's a powerful video about a guy in the military who is a medic, and there's this guy bringing him in because he's wounded, and the guy who's lifting him up in there leans down and kisses him. You know, and it's just, you're in the middle of war, and you had the thought to express love, and it just changes. And when people see a video like that, it's, I mean, even in his, it's just so beautiful, and it brings this emotion of just gratitude. And this is the thing that we've all been wanting, and that we desperately seek, and that we feel so alive when we have. And so I feel like it doesn't take me saying love wins to try to sell that to you. Look around and watch it happen, and you will know. That's my answer to that.
Oh, you're the best, Nate. Let's get one to Chantal. We got more questions coming in than I can queue them up, so give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find them. Debbie Ann, oh, we got a bunch of team leader questions. Debbie Ann, if you're having trouble with self-love, what do you suggest we do? I'll tack on a couple because it's already, I guess, 4:50. I don't know what time it is there. Patrick asked, how do you keep good relationships with a person going without questioning their intent? They're kind of separate questions, actually. So we'll do Debbie first. If you're having trouble with self-love, what do you suggest we do?
Chantal.
So what Tony says about, and to kind of tack on to Debbie's other question about what should we do when we are feeling every emotion except love. And what Tony says is that if you want a different result, take a different path, right? Because if you keep walking into that same door or that same wall, just take a couple steps to the left and walk through that doorway that's right next to you. So I think that when you're experiencing some type of doubt within yourself, or you need to find more love in your life, take a different approach. And I think that begins with the mirror exercise that we talked about at GYLS, and being able to just look at yourself in the eyes for a couple minutes through the mirror and really with deep intent tell yourself that you love yourself and name off a couple things that you love about yourself every morning to really cultivate that self-love. And like all other things, when you're not feeling the love that you wish to feel, go about things on your day differently. Like if you don't normally take a walk in the park, go take a walk in the park and really just give time to yourself. Be able to deliver yourself quality time like you would for others with words of affirmation. Sometimes you just got to go out and give yourself some gifts, some chocolate, acts of service to yourself, and physical touch. So I really think that like being able to deliver those 5 love languages to yourself is just as important as being able to deliver it to others.
The one thing, I love all of that. That was perfect. The one thing I would like to tack on, if it's okay, is express love. Give love and you will receive love. If you're not getting a lot of love, it might be about you. You might be the cause of that, right? So think about that for a second. If you haven't been expressing, there are people every day who go out in the world and they're like, I'm grumpy about this and this isn't right and here's why I'm mad and I think this person sucks and this person in traffic, blah, blah. And okay, yeah, you're spitting venom on everyone. Maybe for a second, come from a place of love, and instead of bitching about things, look at someone and say, here's why you're important to me. I just want you to know. And I don't even have a reason. I just want you to know that I care about you and I love you and here's why. Or, hey, I'd like to buy that coffee for you today. How come? Because I just want to do a random act of kindness. Or, you know, and you just start to move through the world giving love. It's an action, it's a verb. And all of a sudden you start to notice that the echo back is different and the feeling inside is different. So sometimes, of course, all the things Chantal said, and sometimes it's about get your butt out there and do it.
Awesome. We have a bunch of questions, and I'm not sure how tight you guys are on time. I'm pretty sure you guys have to be done on the hour. Or do we have time?
I have a little bit of wiggle. What do you have, Chantal?
Yeah, I have wiggle.
All right. Well, I've got 4 questions for you guys. We're going to start, because this one was queued up a little while ago. I kind of skipped it because of the comments. From Josh Glanville, just how important would you say gratitude is in relation to self-love and love in general? I know Chantal touched on this, but it would be interesting to hear. What difference do you think it makes? And we'll keep that one as its own question. Who wants to take that first?
Chantal, you lead.
I'll take it.
So
I think that I believe that gratitude is everything, Josh, and you should know this. But I think that like if you look at yourself in the mirror and you, instead of like telling yourself things that you love about yourself, and you just point out all the negatives and you're like, oh, I hate your hair, I hate the way you look, and blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously that's going to have a different impact from whether you tell yourself you love yourself or not, you know? Like, being able to appreciate those small things, I think really builds up that foundation to love greater things outside of not only yourself, but like the world. And so if you tell yourself, oh, I really like what you're wearing today, or I really like the way your hair looks, then that's going to have a different ripple effect from what you would otherwise would say that you hate yourself. So being able to show yourself the gratitude that you really deserve, I think, is the biggest foundation to self-love.
Totally agree.
Do you want to add anything, Nate?
I would just say, just another way to think about that is warts and all. This is a really weird statement. It means a lot, and even write it down. Love yourself. Be grateful for yourself, warts and all. And what that means is there are parts of all of us that we aren't exactly excited about. There are parts of us that we love, and we're like, yes, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm this and I'm that, and I feel this and I'm that, and I have these relationships, whatever. But there are some parts of us that we aren't excited about, right? And it could be anything. Some people are like, I'm pissed that I'm short. Other people are like, I'm pissed that I'm too tall, right? And everything in between. So just the invitation for the rest of your life is to start to appreciate and be grateful for yourself, warts and all. That means the parts of you that even you might think aren't that great, and this is the real brain teaser of this. Watch, at some point that part that you don't like is going to serve you. in a really cool way that you never imagined, it will happen. So, warts and all.
Awesome. Next question was from Patrick. I'm pretty sure he was on Team Love Wins. How do you keep a good relationship with a person going without questioning their intent?
That's a loaded question. I could go a lot better.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. I don't really want to change the wording of it. I want to leave it how it is. So I'm not gonna. I usually will like elaborate on it, but how do you keep a good relationship with a person going without questioning their intent? Patrick, if you want to maybe reword it for us so we have a little context or maybe a different perspective, that's cool. If not, Chantal, you can fire that up because you're a youth leader, and then you can tack on at the end.
So how do you keep a relationship without questioning their intent? A good relationship.
How do you keep a good relationship with a person going without questioning their intent?
I think I've never really found myself in a situation where I question others' intent unless they've given me a reason to. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to me, I give people the respect straight off the bat. I trust them, I give them respect unless otherwise they prove me wrong. And so where I find myself questioning others' intent is when they give me a reason to do so. And so I think that keeping a good relationship where I am questioning their intent, I don't think that would be possible for me, because the second that like I see someone that's not serving me or being able to lift me up into a higher place, I cut that relationship right away. And so if you find yourself in a position where you're questioning someone's intent in their relationship with you, I think being able to communicate with them and be able to say, hey, I don't feel good about the way that you did so-and-so, so what was your intent behind that, and why are you doing that? I think that, like, if you're questioning someone's intent in a relationship, the best way to go about it is to definitely communicate with them about how you feel, whereas some people might just completely disappear, and that might just create a whole nother level of questioning between both parties.
Yeah. I actually have a really quick thing to add if you guys don't mind. I'll take a minute. I've had kind of experiences with this before, and Patrick, it may not be the other person at all. It may be some past experiences you've had, some anchors or maybe some triggers that have molded your model of the world into questioning intent, even when the person has no reason, no cause for you to have to question their intent. So it may not be a strategy around you being able to communicate with them. It may be a story you need to look within and then rewrite. So I'll send that to Nate to put a final touch on that.
Yeah, I think the question of intent is not to be used lightly. To question someone's intent is not to be used lightly. That's a pretty big deal. So if you genuinely are questioning someone's intent, in my view, something would have to be pretty wrong there. It's one thing to ask someone about their values or their philosophy, or you could even say, tell me more about what makes you think these things or why you choose that path or whatever, to try to understand how they view the world, their model of the world.
Alert from calendar.
Awesome.
Magic moments.
Magic moments.
I'm questioning the intent of that person. Who was that? What were they saying?
That was Siri. She's reminding me to write down my magic moment.
So just use that one carefully. I kind of believing in the intent. Assume the best intent of people until proven otherwise, and it would have to be a pretty heavy infraction to cause me to think otherwise. And I think that's a pretty big conversation. I'll leave it at that.
Cool. We have a comment. It's not even a question. It's just a post from Valeria. Last night I was feeling extremely unloved, both lacking self-love and worldly love, and this session just made my day, month, and existence. Thank you. We have maybe one last question, because we're already up at an hour. If you guys have a burning last question that you absolutely have to have answered live, then post it. Otherwise, you can just direct message Chantal or Nate or even myself, and we'd be happy to.
Yeah, and add George into any direct messaging.
And George, of course. This one's from Jenna. When there's someone you need to cut off in your life, particularly a family member, how can you feel less guilty about it, especially when they believe you're being irrational about your decision? The person constantly blames me for all the problems between us, and I can't continue like this, but it's becoming hard to believe this is the right decision.
I'm going to go with my intuition on that one. I'm willing to be wrong here. I've been through this a number of times, and there's something really powerful about healthy boundaries. A healthy boundary is when you look at a relationship and you know whether that's empowering or disempowering. You know whether that's healthy or unhealthy. You can feel it in your body. You can look back at reference after reference after reference. And there's something really beautiful about being courageous enough to go, you know what? This is going to sting a little bit, but I'm going to set a healthy boundary right now. And that boundary is this. If you want to be in connection with me, it needs to look and feel like this. If it's going to be nasty, then we aren't going to be in connection. And here's the thing that I think is the beautiful seed that you're planting in that moment, and that is you're teaching that person it's not okay to abuse me or anybody else. And by setting this boundary with you, you can start to realize that there are consequences for your behavior. And that through my modeling of this for you and by holding this healthy boundary for you, I'm actually loving you. Mindbender, right? I'm actually loving you to show you that you can be in a healthy relationship with me and get what you want. But if you want to be in an unhealthy relationship, I'm not here for you, right? And that's loving from afar. So, of course, I could be wrong, but that's my intuition on that.
That sounded super right, but we'll see if that helped. Don't know if we have any other questions, just a bunch of people liking things. So, with
final statements?
That being said, final thought. That was, before you guys do your final thought, I just want to honor both of you guys, Nate and Chantal, and shout out to George. This was an unbelievable session. Like, every time I run these, I'm like, oh my god, that was the best one ever. This one was super good. There's a lot of gold in here. Even if you watched it live, I would watch it again. I'm going to just rewatch this whole thing again. That was incredible. Lots of really good stuff. So, Chantal, you can give us a final thought, and then Nate will send us home.
Some final nuggets.
Some final thought.
And some final nuggets. So I would say, if I were to take away something from this momentum session, is that you need to find you should find gratitude in the little things in life. And that really will create a snowball effect about the things that you love, and you'll find appreciation in others way more than you used to, and appreciation in yourself. So everything that you do, find gratitude in it and deliver with intention.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so here's mine, and if you have a pen, write this down. If you don't have a pen, get a pen. If you're in front of a computer, type. I don't care. One of the most powerful, beautiful, and transformational forces in the entire world is free, and it is unlimited. It is an absolute abundance. You can never, ever, ever, ever use it all. Right? Let's just wrap our brains around that for a minute. Most powerful, beautiful, and transformational force in the world is free for everyone to use, to give, to receive as much as you want every day. And the one person who decides how much that is you. Right? That's a mind-blowing belief. That's a mind-blowing paradigm to move through the world with. So, as young men and women, as young leaders in this world, you have a secret, and that secret is love, and love wins. This is an abundant force that is in your toolkit, man. This is yours to give. I invite you, Chantal and I and George and Sergio and the entire cast of the beautiful people at Global Youth Leadership and even Global Youth Mumbai, which was amazing and the love was beautiful over there. We all invite you to give it away. Give it away in abundance and watch what can happen. Thank you for this time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love wins.
Love wins.